All right, we are back. Now we are left with 14 to 17, 14, 15, 16, 17. It's a gradient, so you have to practice gradients. And if you make a mistake in a gradient, you're going to treat it as wrong, even though your answer correct can be correct. Are we all ready to go? Again, no calculator. Your time starts now. All right, I'm going to stop you guys at 7.5 minutes. Plan for 7, so I'm giving extra 30 seconds. Before we go here, let's go to this one. Question number 10, 11, and 13. All right, ready? So, in question number 10, they've given a function h of, it's an absolute equality, h of x is equal to 9 minus absolute of x minus 3. And they've given a condition of if h of n is equal to h of negative 3, what's the value of n? So what you do in this particular problem is, wherever you see x, that's where it becomes n. So you can see 9 minus x minus 3, 9 minus n minus 3. So you just are replacing n, n for x for n basically. That's all it is. And then same thing here, which is equal to h of negative 3. So wherever x you have, you replace with negative 3. So 9 minus negative 3 minus 3. So you can see h of n is equal to h of negative 3. And of course, I don't touch this portion because, you know, this is where you want to simplify this. Negative 6, absolute of negative 6 is 6. 9 minus 6 is 3. Then I bring the negative 9 on the both sides. So to get rid of this, then you have negative absolute n minus 3 is equal to negative 6. Remember, you have both negatives here. You want to get rid of it by doing divide and multiply by negative 1. So absolute of n minus 3 is equal to 6. Remember one thing, absolute measures distance. Distance is always positive. So absolute is equal to a positive number. So I can actually solve this by removing the absolute. N minus 3 is equal to 6. Or, because you're removing the absolute sign, n minus 3 is equal to negative 6. So n is equal to 9, or n is equal to negative 3. So you have two answers you get. So the one that can match, or I didn't even look at it, is C. 9 is matching there. If they had given both, then they would have given an answer as both. Any questions on 10? Who asked? Do a thumbs up. All right. Question number 11 is a typical long PSAT question where you just have to match the terms, and there is a little without calculator section here. So this is the equation. If you read very carefully, C is $320. They're matching. They've given the description, so you have to just match. B is $9,000. That's the easy portion here. The tough portion people struggle here is when they divide by 0.08, this portion here, they struggle. How to divide this without calculator? Well, you can see they always make it easy by doing simple operations. You move the decimal to make it 8, so you add 2 zeros here, so it becomes 4,000, then you can solve it. Who asked this question? Just do a thumbs up if you're okay with it. All right. Again, that will be a standard procedure when I teach, so I'm going to keep the ball rolling now. The next problem is of significant importance to you guys. So, square root of x raised to 5 divided by 4th root of x cubed is equal to x raised to b. What is the value of b? Okay. So I want to start with this one here. When you have a square root, there is an automatic understanding it's a 2 here. Okay, it's understood. So there is a rule, nth root a, just do this here, nth root a is equal to a raised to 1 by n. If you don't know this, you can't do this problem, period. All right? So that's what I'm going to do here. X raised to 5 raised to half. Same thing here. You have 4th root of x cubed raised to 1/4, because this radical is now a exponent. So always remember the relation between an exponent and a radical. A radical is nothing but an exponent with a numerator 1. Then There's a next formula you have to know. X raised to 5 raised to half. So a raised to m raised to n is equal to a raised to m times n. So these two get multiplied. 5 times half, 5 halves, 3 times 1/4, 3/4. So x raised to 5 halves divided by x raised to 3/4. Then you have a raised to m divided by a raised to n. So the formula you have to use here is a raised to m divided by a raised to n is a raised to m minus n. So this goes at the top here. So 5 halves minus 3/4. Again, do the least common denominator, which is going to be 4. So times 2 divided by 2. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 divided by 4 minus 3 over 4. 10 as a 4 is the least common denominator. 10 minus 3 is 7. X raised to 7 over 4 is equal to x raised to b. As the bases are same, exponents will be same. Anybody, any questions on question number 13? Any questions on question number 13? All right. God, this is great. These flies are bothering us here. All right, we are going to go to 14 to 17. I know we have another student just joined, so we are on this book. And we are on page number 64. All right, I'm going to read out 14 to 17 answers. And you have to check what you have done in the gradients. So I want to make sure it matches. 14 is 3. 15 is 25. 16 is 38. And 17 can be a fraction, 2 over 7. If you want to use decimals, it's 0.285 or 0.286. All three are okay. Out of those 4, how many got all correct? 1, 2. Okay. We had 4. Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Can you do number 16?
Oh, okay, yeah, we'll get to that one. 16, okay. Daniel, you joined just late. We are on this book. We are on this book on page number 64. So, okay, we have 16 and a 17 request. Any other questions? All right, now we have done the no calculator section 1 to 17 for a PSAT. How many got out of 17 all correct? We have 1, okay. 4, well done, that's good. 1 wrong. You have 1 wrong, Kabir, that's good. Rohan, 2 wrong, 1 wrong, that's good. 2 wrong. Alicia, okay. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is your time. So you have been tracking time here when you're doing this, right? So add all the times for the 17 questions and write down the total time you took, okay? time is important. Sixteen and 17. Okay. Please write down the time for those 17 questions. All right. Did anybody complete those 17 questions between 5 and 10 minutes? Ten and 13 minutes. Thirteen and 17 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. 17 to 20. Okay. 20 to 23 minutes. Okay. Is there anybody who did not do all questions on the time we had? Sophie, did you do that? How many were you left with? 3? Okay. So you have 25 minutes for the without calculator section. I'm sorry guys, we are having real flies issues here. I don't know what has happened here, so we have quite a bit of flies around, and so sorry about that. So my goal is to have you guys done at 18 minutes, okay? Those 17 questions. So that remaining 7 minutes you get, and especially this is true for California and New Jersey students, where that one question can make a significant impact, you really need to hammer those 7 minutes and go through all of them, especially if once you're not sure about, so that you don't end up making silly mistakes. And I cannot stress the important, and don't take it for granted, oh, I got it right. Don't be overconfident, because that one question can make all the difference eventually. So don't be overconfident and don't sit idle when the test is done. Okay, you'll have enough time where you can go back and check. So the protocol I want to use for you guys here is 2 things. When you're doing the test and you have, let's say you came across a question you have no idea, circle it. Let's say you go to a question, you're sure the 2 are wrong, but you couldn't find out out of the remaining 2 which is correct. Put a square box. So when you're left with time, you want to go back to the square box first and then to the circle ones. Sounds good? So do not, if you're confident, move on, no worries. But if not, you have to have a strategies to and there will be enough tension that day, enough stress that day. So you have to start planning for that. Sounds good? So that's a strategy I want to talk about. Next, everybody should have this purple book. Okay? Write on the homework for this week from the Kaplan SAT book. And I expect you guys to be done, okay? I don't want to hear reason that you're busy and all these things. All the students in this classrooms are extremely busy with other things. You have to make this as a priority and make it happen. I just don't want a reason saying that it's not done and I have 10,000 things going on. Welcome to college. You'll have to make time to get things done in college too. Nobody cares in college. If you don't do the work, nobody's going to give a damn. So, write on the homework for this week, chapter 4, 5, 6. You have 2 weeks to do this because next week is Ryan's, but Ryan will also be giving the homework to you guys. So don't want to just delay that too much. So 4, 5, 6 chapters. When I come back next time, needs to be done, but definitely make sure that you are done sooner than later so that it doesn't start piling up for you guys. Am I making myself very clear? Just do a thumbs up if you understand this. All right. Sophie, does this make sense? All right. So here's what's going to happen. When you are done with your homework in the WhatsApp group, I just want you to reply back and say, homework week 1 is done. Okay? Whenever you're done, you just text a message so that I know who has done it and who has not. I'm going to hold you guys accountable if you're not done, okay? I don't want to have students who are not going to be serious in my class. You know, we work pretty hard to make sure that you guys make that national merit. Fair enough? You gotta put in the effort. All right. I would like everybody to go to page number 66, this page.
Which book?
Same book, this one. This book, page 66. Please read page 66. Very rarely you'll have to use those formulas because you should know this and do not have to depend on that formula sheet that's given to you guys. But in case you forget, you have something. 90% of my students do not look to this one after the class is done. They know this.
I had a question.
Yeah, please.
So does the PSAT differ from the SAT in difficulty as well, or is
No.
it just the number?
Number of questions and the time.
Okay, so that's it. The difficulty is like the same, basically.
Absolutely the same. Absolutely the same. It feels difficult because the time is longer. You start to feel tired, but we have never had anybody tell me that the SAT was easier or difficult than PSAT. But I've seen a comparison between an SAT to another SAT. It was, I believe, 2 years back, we had an SAT that was very difficult in English. And then there was another SAT where it was very difficult on the without calculator section. But comparing PSAT to a typical SAT, it's almost normalized in terms of difficulty level. So you should not have any problems.
Within math, is like the calculator harder than the no calculator, or vice versa?
Actually, people feel the without calculator is harder because they're so used to using calculator. But technically speaking, when I do the math test, it's a calculator section, which is actually pretty significantly harder sometimes. I just want you guys to know, just like ACT math, PSAT to SAT and SAT have the same linear variation of difficulty level to compare to question numbers. So question number 1 is actually the easiest, just like in ACT and PSAT and SAT. But as you go into the last questions, it's going to get difficult. So you want to save time for the difficult ones, especially without calculators, with calculator section. Without calculator is totally your math skills, mental math. If you're good at mental math, you should absolutely have no issues. And 320 divided by 0.08 we just did can be kind of the higher end of it. That's all it is. Because it used to be difficult, trust me, it used to be very difficult, SAT. 2018 they changed it and they made it very, very easy. Before that, SAT was hell. It was very, very difficult. All right. We are going to start with calculators, so you're going to get your calculators. The same situation. You have the bubble sheet you're going to answer in. On the previous next page, there is a scan, you have ripped the page, right? So you have that ready. You're going to do 5 questions again. Same concept continues. Your time starts now.
Sorry, how many questions?
5. First 5.
You're blocking the time.
First 5 only, right?
Yep. I'm going to stop here, guys, at 4 minutes. Let's go back to question 16 and 17 from the previous one. Let's start with 17. So in 17, they've given x is not equal to 0. That's more of a distractor than anything else. 5x is equal to 7y. What is the value of x minus y divided by x? So the first thing what I did was I separated the x to each term. So x by x minus y by x. X by x is of course is 1 minus y over x. So they have given this equation here where I can get the value of y divided by x, which is what I need here because it's a it's a grid-in question, so your answer cannot have any variables. It has to be a numerical answer. So what I did was I took as I'm looking for y divided by x here, so I divided both sides by x. So I did y over x here. Then I divided by 7 both sides, so I get y by x on itself, which is 5 divided by 7. Then I just plug this one here. 1 minus 5 over 7 is 2 over 7. Does that make sense? Yes, no? I just want you guys to ask. I don't mind explaining by different ways, second time, but I don't want you to come here and leave this classroom. Oh my goodness, I wish I had a little bit more information. Sophie, is this okay?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. It makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay. I don't know who asked this, but just do a thumbs up quick if you're okay with it. All right. 16. Okay. 16. Very typical with calculator and without calculator section. Simultaneous equations, system equations, two variables, system of equations, simultaneous equations, whatever you call it as. So they're saying there are 100 seats, one for students, one for regular admissions. So S plus R is 100. For the students, it costs $24, and for regular, it costs $36. And the total sales is $3,144. Again, you can do a unit balance. So this will be so many dollars students will generate. This is for the regular dollars. So dollars, dollars, so dollars. Seats, seats, and seats. As they're asking how many student tickets were sold, I do always the elimination method. I multiply both sides, this top equation by negative 36, so I can get rid of the 36R here. So I'm left with negative 36S from here plus 24S from here is equal to negative 3600 plus 3144. Got to be careful. You're gonna make silly mistakes due to the stress you are in. You wanna watch this, okay? And small things, and I cannot stress the importance of this. So this is 12S is equal to 456, double check, mental math, manual math. You do not have a calculator here. So, I have done this many times to tell you this is where mistakes usually happen. It's not in the top equation side, it's here. Then divide by 12, again you're doing division without calculator, so be careful. 12 times 3 is 36, then you have a 9 left over, 96, 12 times 8 is 96. Having a strong mental math actually helps you a lot in this. If you're used to calculator for all the time, then you're gonna have a little difficulty. So as Poor was asking at the time, it's the without calculator is not tough, it just feels that way because of the lack of mental math. Question number 1 through 5 with calculator section. A, D, D, B. I repeat, A, D, D, B. Anybody got all 5 correct? A lot of people, okay. Any questions?
Number
5? All right. Another reminder, if you have made a mistake, the best way is to go home. You have done all these things, you know how to do it now. Go home and repeat it 2 more times. You'll be amazed that extra practice that will give you that confidence you need. Because otherwise, you may think you know it, you might think you know it, but it actually, in the case, you have done just once and you won't. In 3 days later, you're like, oh my God, I don't know how to do this. So I really want you to understand why that extra effort you're going to put in makes a difference. Again, I'm looking for that 1 or 2 questions that are going to eventually, and again, I've done it enough to know that it eventually comes down to 1 or 2 questions. So last year was Iowa was 1440, and we had at least 3 students with 1430, and one of them actually missed a -3 or something 3. If she had got that correct, she would have been national merit. One question, a small negative sign. She's from Heelan. She was from Heelan. So yeah, you can be upset at the time, but it's too late, right? It's too late. Nobody cares. So I have question number 5. We're gonna go do 6 to 10. Your time starts now. going to stop you guys at 5 minutes. Let's go to question number 5. So they're asking for the value of 5 times a minus half if 10a is equal to 13. So the first thing I did was I just distributed the 5 to see I get 5a minus 5 halves. So I need to know the value of the entire thing. So, but they also have given 10a is equal to 13. So I divided both sides by 2, and I'll tell you why 2, so that when I divide by 2, you get 5a, which is what I'm looking for here. So you could have divided by 10 to get the value of a itself. You sure can do that. I would add more steps to it. But if you divide by 2, I get 5a, both sides. So 5a is equal to 13 divided by 2, which I plug it in here. 13 divided by 2 minus 5 divided by 2 is 4. Make sense? I cannot stress the importance of not using decimals in PSAT and SAT. Avoid decimals. Even if you have a calculator, I try doing things in fractions. It really will help you. Question number 6 to 10. 6 to 10. B, B, D, C, C. How many got all correct? 6 to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Question. Sorry?
Can you do number 10?
Number 10. All right.
Could you also do number 6, please?
6, please. Sure. So far I have 6 and 10. 6 and 10. All right, let's go to question number 6. Let me erase this quick here. All right, question number 6. All right. X minus 3 squared is equal to 16. Which are the following values? Okay, so the first step is to square root this, both sides. So x minus 3 is equal to square root of 16, which is 4. But you want to be careful, it can be plus or minus 4. So x is equal to 3 plus or minus 4. So it can be 7 or negative 1. 7 or negative 1. Small mistakes like this, small mistakes, can add up. Okay. Question number 10, right? Was it 10? Okay. Question 10 is an important one. And I've seen a lot of people make mistakes in this. And of course you have your calculator at the time. So, how many got question number 10 correct without guessing? A lot of people. Okay, good. Dana buys a shirt, a pair of shoes, and a purse. So, shirt, shoes, and a purse for $81. Shoe costs 25% more than the purse and shirt combined. So the shoe costs 25% more. So it'll be 100% plus 25%. So it'll be 1.25 purse and shirt combined. So I want to explain this. Why it's 1.25? It's not just 25%. It's 25% more. So this equation is important. How much were the shoes? So what we're gonna do is now we're gonna actually combine this into this equation. So we have this. So we have S plus P, which is these two, plus the shoes, adding up to $81. This is here. So S plus P is equal to shoes divided by 1.25. So shoes divided by 1.25 plus shoes is 81. I'm gonna stop here for a second. Are you guys, make sure that you understand this step here. As they're asking for shoe as a variable, that's the focus here. Sophie, does this make sense? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so remember, shoes cost 25% more than a shirt and purse combined, so more means 100% plus the 25%. And then why am I solving for this here so that I can have the shoe as a variable? Okay, so divide by 1.25 both sides. Then I'm gonna you have the calculator, so you can multiply the whole thing by 1.25 to get rid of the denominator here. So it's coming out to shoes plus 1.25 shoes is equal to 81 times 1.25. 81 times 1.25, 101.25. So 2.25 shoes is equal to 101.25. So shoes is equal to divided by 2.25. $45. I don't know who asked this question, but does this make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I understand.
Okay, this is an important one. And you can see the difference between without and with calculator. There are more steps, more decimal oriented in the with calculator section, but you can still avoid it if possible. And I'm not saying this is the only way to do it, okay? Whatever you guys are comfortable with, okay? But this is one problem I would repeat to make sure that I get enough practice on this. Otherwise, it's not gonna happen, okay? I can guarantee that one. You may think, oh, it makes sense, but the question is, yeah, it makes sense now. How long can you retain that information? All right. Just a quick reminder, homework is due. Second, I welcome you guys to the fall 2023 PSAT SAT class. Recordings will be available for anybody who has missed it, or if you want to go back and revisit it, that's fine. But you got to make sure the counselor has the information for the PSAT, so you're registered. Don't take it for granted. And the thing with PSAT is the margin of error is very, very low. So if you don't put in the effort, that one or two questions will be the determinant whether you made it or not. Ryan will go next week, Saturday, same time, completely online. Nobody's gonna come to our center here. And again, you have to ask questions. You're here to learn, not to just spend 2 hours. Take care of yourself. It's nice to see you, everybody. Hold on, before I log off, I just want to take a picture. Bye-bye. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.